G'day everyone, it's Alan here from Fishing Mad. Been getting a lot of feedback from viewers that they've really enjoyed watching some of the shark and snapper and bream videos that they're doing, but a lot of beginners out there are looking for some tips on how to get started fishing and to walk them through the basics of getting out there and catching a few fish. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through that journey. We're going to cover setup and technique and hopefully get you on your way to a couple of fish. As always guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and let's get fishing. Now let's start with gear selection. If you're a beginner at fishing, there's probably no point going out and buying an extravagant, expensive rod combo. And a lot of the rod combos that I'm fishing with today probably cost between that $100 and $200 mark, but your budget is the best indicator. So what I would recommend is starting off with something like this. This is a 2 to 4 kilo class rod. Now, most of the fish that you're going to catch land basing, particularly around Melbourne, are going to be between that 25 centimeters and 45 centimeters. It's going to be quite rare that you're going to be catching really, really big fish. So I'm buying a combo that's suited to catching fish of that size. So this is a 2 to 4 kilo rod. It's 7 foot in length. And what I've done is I've paired that with a 2500 size reel and I've spooled that with 8-pound line. Now you can do monofilament or braid, that doesn't really matter, but a combo like this is going to be a great starting point. Now in terms of the rig, one of the most basic rigs and all about keeping it simple is just a running sinker rig. So when you're doing land-based fishing, this is probably a really great starting point. So what I've got on my main line is just a small running sinker that can move up and down the line freely, to a small barrel swivel, and then what I've done is I've got 50 centimeters of fluorocarbon leader. So fluorocarbon leader is a little bit different to normal fishing line. It's fused. So what it means is it's a little bit harder for fish to see, and it's also got a little bit more toughness and stretch. And then all I've done is finish that off with a size 6 bait keeper hook. Very, very simple. Anyone can rig one of these up in minutes, and it's a very effective way of catching a lot of fish when land-based fishing, particular for beginners. Let's start with some of the accessories that you're going to need when land-based fishing. And the first thing is probably some rod holders. I'm going to show you 3 different options here. So, very basic rod holders. Ones like these, you just get and you stick them in the ground a little bit like this. So this one we can stick right here, it's going nowhere. And then this one right here. And then all you would do is basically grab your rod, cast out, and then that's going to just stay in there ready for a bite. Another thing that I like to have, especially when you're in areas where you can't actually put a rod holder in the ground, is just a chair like this. And it's at the bottom of it, it actually has built-in rod holders where you can put your rods in there like that. One thing that you may want to consider is getting a couple of bells. And what you'll find is as you progress, you'll probably take these away because they do become a bit of an annoyance. But when you're starting out, it's actually really important just to use something like this. Clip them onto your rod, and when you hear that bell go off, you know that you've probably got a nibble or a bite. A couple of other very basic accessories, a pair of pliers, that way it's nice and easy to remove hooks from the fish's mouth, and a decent pair of scissors, that way you can cut line and retie leaders. Now, in terms of bait, I usually will take a few different options with me. So it all depends on what fish species you're targeting. So today we are fishing out on the Yarra River. As you can see, we've got the Westgate Bridge behind us. And here I know there are lots of pinkies, there are bream, there are flathead, and even on odd occasions you might find a gummy shark and things like that. So what I've got with me today is 3 baits. So I've picked up a bag of pilchards. So they cost $10 from the servo on our way here. A really good bait option. Also picked up a container of scrub worms. They too cost $10 from the local tackle store. Bream and pinkies and everything, we'll have a go at those. And I've also got a small container of maggots. Now what I will do today is I am fishing with my daughter. So what we're going to do is we're going to spread out 2 or 3 rods. We're going to chop and change the baits that we're using. And then once we find a bait that seems to be getting most of the bites, then we'll probably load up with that particular one. Why don't we get a line in the water, catch a fish. Can you feel it fighting? Yeah, I think you're on. I just got to keep the rods in nice and high. Go on. way. That's it, lift up. Yeah.
It's been really windy today, and we're fishing in the middle of Melbourne, and we just caught this beautiful silver trevally, which is really awesome.
So my daughter, who's kind of proving the point that anyone here can fish, has caught a beautiful trevally. So this is a silver trevally, and not too common in this part of Melbourne along the Yarra, and that has taken a little piece of pilchard, and it's pretty tricky here fishing on low tide. So she's done a great job keeping that away from the rocks and landing a beautiful fish. Now when you're putting your bait on your hook, you only need to go with quite small sizes. Even that's a little bit big. But what we want to do is we just want to thread it through and make sure that the main part of the hook is completely exposed. So you kind of see that I just thread it through like that, and that way you can see the whole point of the hook is exposed. So if we do get a bite of a fish, there's no way that they're going to miss that hook. So in terms of casting, you don't need to do great big casts. You will be surprised. A lot of the fish actually come in towards where the rocks are and they will feed. So sometimes actually by casting out further means you're actually missing where the fish are. So what I like to do is, if I've got two rods, I'm going to cast them in quite shallow, and then I'm going to cast one in quite a fair way out. And all you're going to do is just lift the arm of the reel, hold it with your index finger, and just a nice slight cast. You don't have to do the big hero massive heave ho, just nice and straight out. Clip that bail arm back over closed, and then we'll put that in the rod holder. If you're a beginner, we'll put a bell on that, and then what we're going to do is sit tight and hopefully get a few fish. This is not a bad fish. I think this is actually a pretty decent fish. I'm going to just go down here because we can get up on the rocks. Oh, this is a nice fish. It's swimming really hard.
Maybe it's another trevally.
The tricky thing is, it is peak of low tide. Oh yeah, it is another trevally. So, there we go. That is not a giant, but I tell you what, if you're a beginner angler, that would be awesome. Now, trevally are a really hard fighting fish. They punch well above their weight, and even you can see my rod was struggling a little bit there. It's particularly harder when you're fishing peak of low tide and you're fishing in quite a snaggy area with light gear. But I tell you what, I am happy to catch that. And as an angler beginner, you'd be very happy to catch a beautiful trevally like that. It's not the species we thought we were going to catch today, but I tell you what, that's absolutely awesome. So we're doing pure catch and release fishing today, and I typically do that, especially when I'm fishing with my kids. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with keeping a fish and taking it home. Just make sure you're aware of all the legal size and catch limits, guys, and that you follow the rules, and that way we can let a few fish go and we can have a good feed and everyone's all happy at the end of the day. We're going to go and let this go, guy, right now. We've been here for about half an hour, coming on strong now. Another piece of fish. We've been fishing now for about half an hour, and in that time I've got one small bream, two beautiful trevally, and now that was pretty much the target species that we thought that we would catch here. So that is a pinky. That's just on that running sinker. You can see the hook there. That was on a little piece of pilchard. Again, we're just using that 2 to 4 kilo size rod. And I'll tell you what, that is a great size fish when fishing at a little estuary like this. And if you're a beginner angler or you're fishing with kids, you'd be absolutely rapt to catch a couple of fish like that. They fight really hard on the light gear. And I'll tell you what, just a beautiful fish. Those beautiful blue spots. And we're going to quickly get him back in the water and get him on his way. Careful, these guys might make some waves. Well, that's a wrap. Thanks for watching. I hope that you found some of these tips valuable, especially if you're new to fishing. Some very simple and repetitive techniques which we've proven in less than an hour that can catch a few fish. Guys, make sure you do let me know in the comments what you think And if there's something in particular that you would like us to cover, which you would find helpful, let us know and we'll helpfully take that up on board. Anyway, as for now, that's it for us. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and until next time, good fishing everyone.